West Ham head into Sunday's Premier League fixture against Aston Villa, having suffered 3 defeats in succession in all competitions. Whilst the West Ham are currently in 6th position in the standings, we only hold a 9-point lead upon our next opponents. Villa have played 1 game fewer and winning 3 matches in the row. Welcome back to the West Ham Network for your Aston Villa preview. It's not just myself, though, Anton. It's not Matt tonight. Matt is gone AWOL, but no, we do know. We know where he is. We know where he is. Don't worry. But I'm joined by two guests, 2 regulars on the channel. And the first up is Luke, and second of all is Mr. Irish Tommy. How you both doing? You both well?
I wasn't until I heard that. Yeah.
Irish Tommy, mate. How you doing, Tommy? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Been stuck at home all day because the weather's been atrocious. So I've been basically watching sport all day. So I've been watching Premier League and rugby. Go on, Ireland. And I'm watching Gaelic football. Kerry are playing Mayo just in the road from me here, so I'm watching that.
They certainly are. Oh, excellent. Good man. Good to have you on board. Listen, first up then, before we even get into it, look, give me your brief thoughts on Aston Villa before we dissect them a little bit.
Well, they've had a bit of resurgence, haven't they? Since Stevie G took over, they had a little bit of a dip after the first few games, and I think Coutinho's starting to hit form now. So they're a good team. They're a good team on forward to score goals, and I think I was on the video last night with on YouTube, and the guy I was on with, Justin, he mentioned that they've scored something like 7 goals in 2 games. And we have scored about 1 goal in 3 games. So at the minute, it's looking a bit it's a bit of a scary game for us to prepare for, but we'll see. But yeah, after your game report at the start of the video, I'm even less confident. But there you go. It's a long video. Let's see how we go.
Tommy, brief thoughts on Aston Villa and how you feel on the lead up to the game, obviously after the kind of defeat with the Europa League, and of course we're going to dissect it in a minute, but just your kind of brief thoughts, mate.
On Villa, yeah, they're a good side. They've improved, no question, under Steven Gerrard. Like I say, 3 wins on the bounce. They're scoring more freely. So yeah, they're definitely going to be a test for us tomorrow. They've got some very good players. They're well organized, and yeah, we're going to be, even though we're at home, we're going to have to play very well tomorrow if we want to take the points.
Absolutely. Well, let's just kind of listen. We're not going to go really in depth about Aston Villa tonight, but we should talk about them, of course, because it is the preview. So let's go and talk the opposition. Let's talk Aston Villa. Now, it wouldn't be a West Ham Network matchday build-up live preview, whatever you call it, if it wasn't for all these little videos and little music things. I'm going to play another one to you because, look, the first question is going to be, I'm going to show you what happened the last time out the two clubs met, and I want you to tell me what potentially the difference will be going into the game tomorrow. What a result that was for West Ham, obviously travelling away from home and smashing Villa. But look, I mean, many changes from the last time out. Different manager for Aston Villa. You've briefly talked about it at the start. Talk to me about the kind of impact that Steven Gerrard had.
Yeah, they're a completely different kettle of fish now. I think their whole ethos has changed, and they're a lot more attacking than they were the last time we played them. We've sort of swapped form, if you get what I mean, and it's now got to the point where, you know, we scored 4 goals in that game, and I think now you look at our games recently, and would be amazed if we scored 2 or 3. Which is we're playing well. We just can't finish. We just can't finish chances off, which is disappointing. But no, I think the whole ethos has changed. It's funny because I'm reading the comments as they're coming through, and there's one from Vinay, and it says Villa have nothing to play for. Whether that's technically true or not, that to me is even more scary, because sometimes you get these teams who have nothing to play for and they play better than they would do if they did. They play with a lot more resurgence. They're a lot less likely to worry about defending, so they go attacking more. Not only that, you know, they got Coutinho. They brought Coutinho in January, and he's been a complete, you know, game changer for him. He's long range. He's creates chances. Fantastic dribbler. You know, he's just a full package for him going forward, and he's made a massive difference. And he's someone that the main difference between, in my opinion, the main difference between having a player of him in your team and not is the fact that they know when their decision making is on point. And that's something that we've suffered with over the last few games, is that when we get into the final third, either we don't make the right pass, we don't make the right shot, or something just goes blank in our players' heads. Whereas with a player like him, it doesn't. He knows what he's going to do before he gets the ball, and that's the difference. But that's the difference between the players on our team at the minute. I'm not putting our players down too much. I just think that at the minute we're lacking something in the final third, and they're not. That's why they're scoring goals. So new manager, new ethos around the way they play football, and Coutinho, which is every world-class player in your team does help, doesn't it? So
absolutely, Tommy. I mean, when it comes to Coutinho, we all know what he's capable of doing. Obviously, from watching him during his time in the Premier League, etc. Aston Villa have brought him in. He's gone abroad. It's not really particularly worked out for him. Aston Villa have brought him in. You know, I don't know what the deal is in terms of his weekly wage, etc. But you can't help but think it was a great deal for the club. And sometimes you maybe look at that deal and you think, would have West Ham? Why did West Ham not? Considering how much of an effect he's had. I mean, he's got 4 Premier League goals so far since he's been at the club, Tommy. And he is causing a lot of teams a lot of bother. He's came back in and just smashing everything about. What do you think of him?
Oh, he's a top quality player. I mean, we all remember how brilliant he was at Liverpool, and obviously went to Barcelona. Didn't really quite work out for him there, or at least not so far. He's only on loan at Villa. But yeah, it's hard to understand why we wouldn't have been all over that. You know, if he was obviously available on loan until the end of the season and Villa were looking at him, I mean, certainly if I'm West Ham manager, I would be going to Sullivan saying, hijack this deal, you know, and get him in. You know, he's a great player. I mean, this would have been up there with the Lingard loan from last season, I think, in terms of impact. But look, it's for Moyes to know why he had no interest in that. I think we could have gotten him. I think he would have come to us ahead of Villa, given our position in the table. I don't know if he's eligible for Europa League, because he wouldn't have played in that for Barcelona. So I imagine he'd be available for that. He would have played maybe Champions League for them, but not Europa. So I don't know. I would have loved for us to have tried to hijack that deal, and we should have. And why we didn't, we'll never know. But he's a tremendous player, and he's made a big difference to Villa. And they, I think, will continue probably up the table a bit from where they are because of him.
And I think that's the thing, though. Like, that we're 9 points ahead of Aston Villa, but it doesn't just stop at Coutinho, and obviously Steven Gerrard has come in and worked a bit of his magic. But I'll bring this one over to you, Luke. Danny Ings, listen, he loves to play against West Ham. He's faced West Ham more often than any other side. He doesn't like playing against West Ham because he's faced West Ham more than any other side without scoring in the Premier League games. But he's a top-notch striker. Now, the issue is when he was linked to moves away from clubs before he went to Southampton, before he went to Aston Villa, I think a lot of West Ham fans would have looked at him and thought his prowess in front of goal. He's got 5 goals this season. He's got 5 assists. Our biggest concern, though, would have been injury record, etc. But we can't remotely deny that this guy's a talent and is a threat in the forward line. What do you think?
Yeah, he's very potent in front of goal. He's almost classic now English centre forward with a bit more, a lot of pace and mobility. But again, whenever we get linked with a striker, they always tend to have this injury record, and we always go, don't you want any of that? And then whether they if they either come to us and get injured straight away, well they don't, and they don't even play that well sometimes, which is a bit of a difficult one. But he's I think he's now, correct me if I'm wrong, he's sort of Villa's main man up front, and Watkins isn't so much. I think he's normally a sub, is he not? I could be wrong on that one. I don't really follow Aston Villa heavily, so I wouldn't be that clued up about that.
Just to fill you in, Luke, the last game against Leeds, they played like a 4-3-1-2. So they're flat back 4, and then they had 3 midfielders in front of that, which was Ramsey, Louise, and McGinn. And then they had Coutinho in the number 10 role, and then they actually had Watkins and Ings up front.
Yeah. Right. Was that one game though, or was that
the last game against Leeds? That was their last game against Leeds.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. They're both. Watkins was linked with us before he went to Villa. He's a very good striker as well. They're both quite kind of similar the way they play. I think Ings is probably better at finishing than Watkins is. I think Watkins does a lot more of the hard work. He would kind of be a perfect Moyes player, Watkins. Just for the way he runs around and what he puts himself about, but. It's now getting worrying now that we're listing players that can do damage to us, because if you haven't got Coutinho, it's Danny Ings. If it's not Danny Ings, it's Ollie Watkins. But
on that though, you've got to give credit where credit's due. They have, as much as we are in the position we're in, which is great, it's fantastic, and we're doing really well. They have strength in that potential position, don't they, Tommy? And I mean, 7 goals from Ollie Watkins, 5 goals from Danny Ings, 5 goals from Jacob Ramsey. The difference between Aston Villa and West Ham is that West Ham score goals throughout the team. The rest of the team, where obviously Aston Villa heavily rely on their forward line and they're kind of really attacking players, but West Ham kind of get the goals not just in that forward line. There's maybe a group of 7 or 8 that consistently get 2, 3, 4, etc. But I mean, like we've said, Tommy, Gerrard's come in. He's kind of worked his magic on the team. He's added a bit of, va-va-voom with Coutinho, and it seems to be working for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, so far you have to say he's done a really good job, Steven Gerrard. They'll be very happy with him, the Villa fans, I'm sure, and they'll be quite optimistic, I think, going into games now, especially off the back of 3 wins on the bounce. It'll be interesting to see if he sticks with the formation he played against Leeds, with this kind of 4-3-1-2. It would be brave to play that, I think, coming to our place. To stick with Watkins and Ings up top. He might change it. He might drop Watkins or Ings and just go with one up. So it'll be interesting to see what the lineup is tomorrow. But so far he's doing a really great job. And like I say, he's got. I'm envious. He's got 2 really good forwards you can use there. It's a formation actually that he used at Leeds that I really like. He chose the right game for it, because he would have known that Leeds are open, and they give up opportunities, and he wanted 2 strikers on the pitch, and it worked out for them. They got the win. And there's a lot of good players on that pitch. I know we talk a lot about Coutinho and the likes of Ings and Watkins up top, who will always carry a threat, but they've got really good players all around the pitch. Obviously, the John McGinn, as you have him up there. I was going to say your compatriot-ish, but if I can say that. And Louise in the centre of midfield is a really good player. But this youngster they've got that came through their academy, Ramsey, who plays on the left-hand side, he looks an absolutely fantastic prospect. I'm really, really impressed with this kid. I think he's got a very, very bright future. And even though he's young, 100%. He's got a great future from what I've seen already from him. And we're going to have to watch a number of their players tomorrow. And we were going to have to do a job. I would seriously consider doing a man marking job on Coutinho for 90 minutes. Literally putting someone, even though we haven't seen him, and I know some people in the comment section will balk, but we could do something like bringing in Krell and literally giving one job to do is that you stick to Coutinho for 90 minutes and give him as few touches as possible. Because I still think Coutinho is the key tomorrow to this game. If we don't, I think if we don't lock down Coutinho tomorrow, we're in proper danger because we cannot let him dictate anything tomorrow. And with the huge game coming up on Thursday in the second leg against Sevilla, I would make some changes, and one of them would be, if I'm honest, to put Krell in and said, you stick to Coutinho and you do not leave him for 90 minutes. You shut Coutinho down. I think it's half the job.
It'll be interesting when we get to choosing the team because I can see quite a lot of changes between all three of us and the people in the chat. I think it's probably, we've done enough chatting on Aston Villa, unless, Luke, you want to say anything else before we move on?
I was just going to say, I was like, talk about chucking Krell in the deep end. He gets no game time, and suddenly someone goes to him, right, you got to mark the hardest player, the worst player in the one player we got to mark. You got to go in and mark him for 90 minutes, thinking, oh, mate, cheers. Cheers for the game time. That's fine.
Yeah, no, but I think man marking jobs are very specific. I think there's some of the, I'm not saying it's easy to mark Coutinho out of a game, but at least instructions-wise, it's easy to follow. You literally go wherever this guy goes and you try to stop him. Like, a lot of passes won't even go to Coutinho because Krell is literally going to be on his laces, all the time.
Perhaps it would be the best thing.
I think it's definitely something I'd consider. If we shut Coutinho down, I think we'll go a long way to blunting Villa.
And this is actually a good point here from Mike. There's loads of comments in. I'm putting them up as we go along. I'm starring the ones that we can answer the questions to, but this is kind of relevant just now. At the moment, a lot of Villa players have been clinical in front of goal, and we cannot convert anything at the moment. However, we are creating those. It's true. Absolutely agree with the comment. But we are creating the opportunities, and you can't help but feel sometimes at some point in the near future, we're going to have to start converting these chances because it's getting ridiculous now. It is getting ridiculous now, isn't it? So... listen, the season stats for Aston Villa is they've played 27, they've won 11, they've lost 13, they've scored 40 goals and conceded 37 with 9 clean sheets. That's compared to West Ham winning 13 and losing 9, scoring 46 goals and conceding 35 with 7 clean sheets. So you can see that there's similarities there or thereabouts in the team. We've played one more than what Aston Villa have. We are 9 points ahead of them, but I think it's time for us to move on to our beloved West Ham, and let's go and chat West Ham. And then we'll go and see, we never had a chance to do the press conference this week because, when West Ham came back from Sevilla, I think they maybe flew back in the morning of the next day and straight away they were in the training ground doing their work on the training ground. And David Moyes was in the press conference giving us a brief update. So let's go and take a look at the gaffer. What did the gaffer have to say? So he was first asked about team news and he said, well, we've only just got ourselves back in and we're just recovered. Everybody checks to see. I couldn't give you a complete answer to that at this present time, but we seem to have come through the game relatively okay. We've got 1 or 2 knocks and niggles, and regarding Jarrod, he's not going to be available for the game at the weekend, but we're hoping that he can continue to make some improvement. He's slowly getting better. Big concerns at the fact that we're losing out on our talisman really up front. I'll give you this one, Tommy.
Yeah, obviously, look, Jarrod is a huge loss. Our second best player after Rice, I think, impact-wise. So, yeah, missing him, is a big blow. And we really could have used him in the Sevilla game. I think he would have made a big difference to us. We may have even scored because he was on the pitch. Either he scored himself or he set something up. So, missing him for these 2 games isn't ideal. But I think the main thing is that we can have him back on Thursday. Because that sector of the field, I tweeted about it the other day, a little controversially, that we are not scoring goals from attacking midfield and up front. Like Fornals, Lanzini, Antonio, Benrahma, Vlasic, just are unreliable when it comes to scoring goals. They just fluff far too many chances. Bowen is the one player in there when he gets in and around the box where you feel like he'll make something happen and a goal could come from it.
Yeah,
and so he's a massive loss. So obviously not there tomorrow. We know that, but David Moyes was being very cagey about when we can expect him back. I don't think they really are quite sure themselves at the moment whether he'll be able to feature on Thursday or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he goes on again and talks about him. He says, of course, we're going to miss his absence, but in truth, we've only not had him for 1 game against Sevilla. He got taken off against Liverpool. Did we miss him? Yes, but I think we coped without him last night. But we could do with his goals, which have been so important to us in the last month or so. I'm hoping we get him back. It's a really difficult injury to diagnose completely, and that's probably a little hold up with it. I'm hoping we can get him closer to fitness, but he won't be available for this weekend's game. Look, again, no denying that we're going to be missing the main man in Jarrod Bowen, but this is where we've got to rely heavily on the I'd be careful what I say here, the lack of strength and depth that we've got within the squad. But there is a kind of core of 14, 15 players there. And as Tommy alluded to, players that we feel like should be stepping up, chances for these players to step up, players like Benrahma. I mean, talk to me about what your thoughts on Benrahma was when he came on the park, players like Vlasic. How did you think they performed against Sevilla? And moving forward, what do you think about them in terms of Aston Villa?
I like Vlasic. I think there's more to come from him. I think he needs more regular game time. That would be my only thing. I made the point after the Sevilla game that, because he's getting so little game time, I think he panics and tries to do too much when he's playing to try and make an impact, and he doesn't quite come off for him, and then he looks crap. But he's done. If Rice is saying he's one of the strongest players he's ever played against, then for me, there's something to the bloke. We've paid 30 million for him. For me, he was. Yes, he headed it straight towards a goalkeeper, but I still think the goalkeeper had to make the save in the first place, and he done all right. And he was unlucky not to score after that when he took it, when Antonio knocked it onto him, and he had his shot, and it was well saved by the keeper. It was one of the 2 out of 4 chances we had that night. So I'd like to see him start again. Benrahma, for me, come on. He looked lively. He was a proper fresh air when he come on. Against Seville, he tried a few things. He almost set up the goal for Lanzini. I've written him off a little bit this season a number of times, saying he's not good enough overall for the Premier League. But again, he might just be the way Moyes is trying to coach him, or their relationship within the club. I don't know, but he's if he plays, I'll support him. I just think he's having that problem that a lot of our players are having this season, where they're very good in the build-up play, running up players, dribbling players, part of the setting things up, but their end product isn't quite there. So as much as I want to moan at him, as much as I might be moaning about him not having that ability, if you know what I mean, other players are having the same problem as well. So it's not just his problem, and they'll both probably start tomorrow. The thing is, I must admit, I've never known, especially this season, so many fans being up for changing the team, changing the players, resting players. This is a league game. This isn't a cup game. This is a league game, and we're still, to my mind, trying to finish as high as we can. And it seems to me that everyone's kind of going, right, well, league's over here for a minute. All we want to do is concentrate on the Europa League, which is fair enough to an extent. But I've never known people to go, right, drop him, but rest him, play this person. I'm thinking, I've heard Masuaku mentioned about it for the last 2 or 3 nights. I think people didn't want him anywhere near the squad anymore. And suddenly he's being mentioned, play him left wing, play him left back as well. So it's interesting. I would play those 2 personally. I would start them and see what they could do. But yeah, don't write them off yet. But I like Vlasic personally.
We will come on to team selection in a minute, but I want to ask your opinion on Vlasic, Tommy. I mean, it seems to be a kind of, if you look at social media, the fan base is completely split with regards to them. People have given up on him, but some people think, you know what, I'm starting to see a little bit of something about him that if you give him a bit of run of games, etc., you might start to get something. I mean, what's your kind of take on it?
Yeah, I think Vlasic's been a little bit unlucky. If you remember at the start of the season, he was playing quite a lot because he was starting basically in the Europa League group stages and he was playing Carabao Cup. So he was getting a lot of game time, as were some of the other players that maybe weren't featuring in the Premier League, including Lanzini, who was down the pecking order at that time as well. And I felt like Vlasic and Lanzini were 2 players who really played themselves into form in the Europa League group stage and Carabao Cup because they were getting the game time. So their match sharpness was there, their match fitness was there, their confidence kept growing. And then once the group stage was over, Lanzini kind of was already kind of being brought on off the bench in Premier League games. So Lanzini was kind of able to kind of force himself into the starting 11 on form. And so he's kicked on because now he's playing Premier League, starting games, finishing games, and playing really well. Whereas I feel Vlasic's been a little bit unlucky where he was almost back to square one, where he wasn't starting games anymore because we got knocked out the Carabao Cup and the group stage ended in Europa League. So he was making some cameo appearances in some games, but late in the game. He was getting 10 minutes here and there. So I feel like, his momentum kind of was stalled and he kind of dropped off again because I thought he was playing really well, actually the same as Lanzini was by the end of the group stage and in Carabao Cup. So I think he's been a little bit unlucky that he's a player to me that just needs a bit of momentum. He needs game time. And so I think that's why he kind of fell off a little bit again. But what I saw from him in the Carabao Cup and in the group stage of Europa League, and even against Sevilla the other night, even though he wasn't brilliant, but I've seen promise from him. I know some fans maybe don't like him already, don't think he's up to scratch, but I certainly haven't given up now. I think we've seen enough from him that I think if he was starting every week, I think he'd keep improving. I think he'd get better and better, and he'd have more and more of an impact. So I'm certainly not gone off him yet. I think there's a player there. I think he's maybe just been a little bit unlucky that he's not getting the game time, and it's difficult when you're playing in patches to have a big impact on a team. And but I think there's a player there, and I think he's certainly worth having around. I wouldn't look to sell him, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I can kind of concur with that, to be honest. I think he's starting to really shine and give us an option. And I think about 2 particular chances at Sevilla. The header. Listen, I mean, we can sit here all day long and say that we would, I'd put that back in my net. In actual fact, I do probably think we probably would have put it at the back of the net. I mean, I remember the moment. It's like slow motion. It's like, what are you? Oh my God. And then the shot, the shot from outside the box that I think Bono had to kind of stretch over at full strength and stretch, and save it. You're thinking to yourself, just go in the back of the net, and that's the sort of a run of games and a run of goals for a player like Vlasic could really
as well.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really is. There is a question in the chat, and I think it is Mandy is asking that there. So I've done that especially for you, Mandy. At the bottom, as you can see, since Steven Gerrard has came in to the club, he's had 16 matches. He's won 8 games. I don't know if I've done that right. Yeah, wins are 8, draws are 2, losses are 6. Aston Villa have scored 26 goals and they've conceded 17 since he has been at the club. Moyes then goes on and talks about the chances, as we've all been talking about, but he doesn't just talk about that, he talks about the chances of top four. He says, I think the chances are the same at the start of the season, trying to break into the top four. In truth, there's always been a top six. If we can continue to be in and around it and see if we can be there long enough, maybe we can do it again. We're certainly enjoying European football, and hopefully we can do it again. If Champions League is the word you want to use, then I'm thrilled with that. But obviously European football at West Ham has been really good this year. I mean, we go back to the start of the season. I don't know where your mindsets were at in terms of what would be consolidating or would we progress? What is progression for West Ham, considering we'd be in 4 competitions? I think if you'd have said to me brutal honesty, I didn't think we'd be in Europe up until now. I certainly didn't think we'd be in it. And I certainly didn't think we'd have given the performance we gave, right back at the start. I wanted it. I just don't know if I thought we would have done it. And I thought we'd maybe have gone further in the other domestic cup competitions. But to be in the top 6 at this stage also, yes, it's disappointing because, we've had so many chances that we haven't put into the back of the net and things could change there. Brief thoughts on that, Tommy?
Yeah, it's... Well, give me a question.
You lost for words?
Yeah. Sorry, reiterate that for me again. I got distracted. Sorry.
No, I'm just I'm trying to remember what I was saying. What was I saying? Looking like
it was a point of we were at the start of the season. Where do we think we were going to realistically? What was going to happen almost?
Yeah. So based upon your own opinion, what were you thinking as a West Ham fan? And now looking at where we're at, did you think we would be at this stage where we are at in the Europa League? Did you think we'd be knocked out of the 2 cup competitions? Did you think we'd go a bit further? And are you kind of happy with where we're at? Or are you more disappointed at how the season's kind of panning out?
It's more or less what I expected, if I'm honest. I felt that we would still be challenging in the top 6, and we are. I think we'll continue to do that. So that was expected. I didn't think we were a flash in the pan. I expected us to be strong again this season. When the group came out, I was really happy, actually. The group we got in Europa League, I felt like, we would come out of that group, whether it was first or second place. There was obviously the Europa League was a little bit more of an unknown quantity. We didn't quite know how good the likes of Genk were going to be and these teams. But I expected us to come out of that group. It obviously wasn't a hard group. So, yeah, I expected us to be in the last 16 or round of 32. So very happy with that and what I expected. Top 6, again, I think is very realistic and we're looking like we can do that. We'll certainly be top 7. Let's put it that way. I do not see us at the moment finishing outside of 7th. I don't think the likes of Villa and Wolves are going to displace us this season. We'll have to see what they do in the summer and how strong they are next season. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to finish top 7. So I think we will very likely have European football again next season. As regards to domestic cups, kind of what I expected. This happens every single year. We never do anything in the domestic cups anymore. We just don't. It's been a long, long time. So that was exactly what I was expecting. So I haven't been surprised by anything so far this season. It's really going along the lines I more or less expected from us.
Yeah, absolutely. One more slide. David Moyes covers in his press conferences regarding Declan Rice. He said he had a really bad virus and he was unwell in the weekend, so I thought he came back and did really well for his first game back. It's something which is easy to say. It's not unexpected that he plays at that level because he's a very good player. Look, you've got something to say. Go for it, mate.
He weren't ill, mate. Come on. Declan Rice weren't ill. He was dropped for the game against Seville. There's no way. You've got players out there that are practically half injured and coming back and playing, having injections. Dawson's been injured all season and had injections all the last few months to still play and stuff like that. There's no way I believe that he was ill. I just think he was dropped for the game. I actually kind of think in my own way, because I think Moyes' mentality has changed. I think he was thinking of it as a dead rubber Liverpool game. I think he thought to himself, well, we're probably going to lose anyway. Let's rest. our main player, and let's just keep him fit for Thursday. That's the conspiracy theorist in me, but I don't believe he was that ill personally. Especially when the commentator during the game was going, he was very ill even to a day up before this game, and it was like, well, how was he? You know, you're telling me he's going to travel with all these COVID restrictions and all that sort of stuff. He's got that, you know, with a horrible chest. Nah, he dropped him, mate. That's my opinion.
Listen,
personally.
we know you love a conspiracy theory, mate. Don't you worry about that. Bahia.
Carry on.
Let me jump into the chat a little bit before we move on and start choosing the team. Happy Amaret is saying Moyes knows, as does Kroll, that he is off soon. So what's the point of playing him? Just quickly, can we go through these quickly, Tommy? Do you think that way? Do you think Moyes doesn't see him? I know we think that there could be games that he could play, they could add value, like what you said earlier on. But realistically, can you even see that?
No, I don't see any reason why Moyes would start playing him now unless he's forced to through injuries or suspensions or something like that. But other than that, I don't think we'll be seeing much of anything from Krell for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Vinay is saying Vlasic played well to shots on target that made the keeper work to save it. Black Country Hammer saying Villa got quality all over the pitch and on the bench. Happy Amaret's talking about the Chelsea situation you do for the poor staff in the club shops. Mike Theory saying Vlasic had a great shot outside the box versus Sevilla, off target, aiming for the bottom corner with power. People are starting to name their team, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Robert Singleton is saying West Ham to win and Villa to beat Arsenal, Wolves and Tottenham to help us out. A lot of football still to be played. Come on, you Irons. There is, and do you agree with that one? Look, you know, what is it, 10 games to go now, and the way that the top 6, top 7 is going, it's 1 minute, you know, 1 minute West Ham are 7 points behind Arsenal, and the next minute we're 5 points ahead of Arsenal, and then we're 3 points behind Arsenal, and it's just chopping and changing. The results are going all over the shop. So yeah, we're going to keep ourselves in contention there. It
is crazy, but I sort of almost gave up a little bit because the fact that you had Arsenal and Tottenham with 3 or 4 games in hand, I just thought there's no way I can keep worrying every single weekend that they're going to get results, because it's just the stress would just kill me off. And you know, to me, it's not about other teams. It's about us. We need to win our games and not worry about everyone else, because I've always sort of thought you should get somewhere on merit. That's me being very, very tough and black and white about the situation. But yeah, if I do us a favour and we finish as high as we can, then fantastic. I'm not going to moan about that. But there is a part of it that goes, well, if they win, they win. We should have put ourselves in a position, by hook or by crook, no matter whose fault it was, we should have been in a position where we don't have to worry about other teams winning games, and we've got to do our job. Well, I think Moyes was saying last season when we had Lingard and stuff like that, he was saying, "Oh, you worry about teams below? No, we've got to do our job, and that's it." And that's been my mantra as well. So it would be nice if people could do us a favour, but this is the Premier League. You can't ask anyone to do you a favour, especially not Spurs, for God's sakes. It is what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, if you are watching, I'm going to ask you to start putting your predictions in for the starting 11. Myself, Luke, and Tommy are probably going to disagree or agree on the starting 11 that we're going to build, but we're going to try it. So if you are watching, name your starting 11. Try your best to kind of dissect it a little bit. So what if you're going to choose a keeper over Areola, Fabianski, why? You're going to bring a defender in. What formation you're going to choose? Would you rest certain players for this game, with the mindset that Europa League game is coming up? So if you are in the chat, start naming your starting 11 just now. This is going to be an interesting choice. I mean, listen, it's good fun. It's good fun trying to build up the starting 11 with everyone in the chat as well. And you'll see from doing this the amount of changes that absolutely everyone has with the starting 11 here. So let's move straight into it with the goalkeeper. Areola came into the side again in the Europa League. Tommy, and Tommy, straight over to you, mate. Are we just going straight back into Fabianski in the Premier League? Is there any point in really talking about this position or not?
Are we talking here about what Moyes would do or what I would do?
Well, I think Give me what you would do, and then tell me what you think Moyes will do.
Moyes will play Fabianski. I would play Areola.
Right.
I would play Areola because Areola is going to play against Sevilla on Thursday, and I really want to keep his kind of match sharpness intact. So I would keep Areola in because he will play on Thursday.
What do you think, Luke? Then on that as well, are you more of a?
I'm more of a Fabianski man. Not that I don't think. I'm not saying I think he's better than Areola, but I'm thinking that I know the way that this works is Premier League for Fabianski and everything else is Areola. And I know what you mean about match sharpness, but quite amazingly to me, even though Areola doesn't get consistent starts, he just seems to have match fitness there already, if you know what I mean. He always seems to be like a cat in front of goal. He seems like he doesn't even need to have a run of games. And the way you're talking, I can only imagine how much better he would be if he did have a run of games, which would be quite. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. I don't think we'll personally get him in. We'll sign him permanently in the summer, but I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. But I like Fabianski as well, and I'm just used to the rotation now. So Fabianski for me, and I think he'll do the same thing with Moyes. You know.
To answer that question, Jarrod Bowen is still out. We've obviously spoken about that as well. Mike, you're saying, do you guys think we should start a few reserve players and youngsters to save our key players for Seville? We'll come on to that as we move through the positions going forward. Tommy, for me, the decision to change formation and do the 3-2, whatever you want to call it, 3 with the 2 wing backs alongside them, I like that. I saw the momentum, and I was actually really surprised that we didn't do that against Sevilla. For the game against Aston Villa tomorrow, with all their kind of threats, what would you do with the formation, mate?
I like our 4-2-3-1. I think the players are most accustomed to it. I'd have no problem sticking with that. I'm not as big a fan of the wing-back system, to be honest with you.
Okay, now that's your thoughts. What do you think Moyes will do?
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's a 50-50 flip a coin, really.
You're right, mate. You're right.
Yeah, I think if he's intending to play 4-2-3-1 against Sevilla, he may just want to stick with that tomorrow. So I guess he'll play 4-2-3-1, but wing-back system is obviously a possibility. But I just don't know if he's. I just don't know if he's going to want to play 3 centre backs tomorrow.
Okay, what do you think, Luke, then?
I'd like to stick with the 4 at the back. I'm not too big a fan of the 3, mainly because unless you're playing someone like Masuaku or Creswell, I would rather the left wing back thing with Fornals. I think it worked in one game against Wolves when they weren't particularly that great anyway. I don't think Aston Villa would be saying kettle of fish, and I think he'd do better to just stick with the back 4. I think he'll go with tried and tested. I think it'll be the same back 4 that played against Seville. Personally, in many ways, kind of what Tommy was saying about match sharpness, match fitness. Just keep the same 4. I think Moyes will do that, and I kind of agree with him on that point, to be fair. I think that's the way he'll go.
Mark R saying Fabianski, Zuma. I'm not going to name the rest of the team. I'm just going to do the defenders for the starting point. Zuma, Dawson, Johnson, Creswell saying a back 4 as well. Happy Amaret says Fabs, Defo, same team as last week, I reckon, from Moyes. We know he doesn't like to change. I kind of agree with that sentiment. I think that, he kind of shows consistency. I don't ever really see him chopping and changing things, although on saying that, Happy, he did chop and change it because he changed it for Sevilla. Now, I personally think he will go with the 5, the 3, and the 2 wing backs, but I'm happy to go with the majority here.
Oh, you're wrong.
As well. Adam Cook saying Areola needs games under his belt just to be in top form. Freno is saying evening. Fabianski, Zuma, Diop, Krez, Benny, Ben Johnson, sorry, that is as well. Same 11 as usual. Johnson, Diop, Dawson, Freddie, are you saying? Oh, Fredericks. I was going to say Freddie Potts. So yeah, let's get into it then. Let's try our best to choose this. What are we going for? We're going for a back 4. We'll commit to the back 4 because you guys are all for it. Right back, Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
Fredericks.
Oh, what's he doing? Are you resting him for Sevilla?
You'll find out in a minute. I'm not resting Johnson. I'm resting Cresswell.
I think I know what he's up to. Okay. Jesus, I don't know how we can do this. Right, I'll tell you what. Let's go with Tommy. Tommy, you just tell me your team, and then Luke will do yours. Go.
All right, Fredericks at right back.
Fredrickson right back. Okay.
And you can swing Johnson over to left back if you like there while you're on him.
Left back. Okay, we'll do that.
We have to rest. We have to rest Cresswell. He played, Thursday again, Sunday, and again Thursday. There's extra time potentially, isn't there, in Europa League?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he might have to play 120 minutes on Thursday. So, it's. I'm not putting Cresswell in tomorrow.
Okay, the two centre halves.
Is going to be Diop and Dawson.
God, he's going all round for the changes, aren't you? Diop and Dawson.
Listen, did you not notice that Zuma definitely wasn't moving right in that Sevilla game? I think that is it his heel or his ankle or whatever it was. That
I
thought he wasn't moving right. I think that foot or whatever it is still causing him problems, and I'd be resting him up before the Sevilla.
To be honest, though, before you say this, look, I actually have noticed this about him. However, I actually think that his old injuries. I'm trying to work this out because every single game, if you watch him walk, he looks injured. He actually does look injured.
He looks like he's dragging. He looks like he's dragging his left leg.
Dragging his leg. Yeah, I think I've seen that as well. Yeah. Right.
I did see him hobbling a little bit. He was definitely hobbling a little bit in that second half. He was feeling that foot, so I would not play him tomorrow. I do not want Zuma breaking down tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Going into the centre midfield pairing.
Yeah. I'm going Noble and Krall.
What? He's going big. He's going big. I love it, Tommy, mate. I bloody love it.
Look, I know Moyes is going to go. Moyes is going to go strong tomorrow. He's not going to do anything like this. He's going to go strong. But the second leg on Thursday against Sevilla is the biggest game we've had in many a year, and I am taking a bit of a gamble. Now, look, there's nothing terribly wrong with that back four.
Yeah. No, there's not. That was questionably our Europa League centre half pairing. Pretty much. And Fredericks can do a job. We know he's capable of doing
Johnson has played plenty at left back. Fredericks obviously very experienced at right back. Diop and Dawson have played together plenty in the centre back pairing. Noble, couldn't be any more experienced, and he's looked really good when he's played this season. I know he hasn't had much opportunity to play, but he's really, he's still a very good player, Noble, and really experienced. He'll be able to handle this game. And like I said, I want Krall on there because I've got him just being Coutinho's shadow for the entire 90 minutes and just shut him down.
From our knowledge, let us know we haven't picked up any extra knocks, but Moyes loves playing smoke and mirrors with everyone, especially in the press. Right, the rest of the team, Tommy.
Okay, the three on the left of the three is Benny.
Ben Rama, bring him in.
In the number 10 role, I'm putting Fornals. I think it's his best position, and I think he's perfectly capable of playing tomorrow and playing on Thursday. He's got a big engine. He's still a relatively young player, so I don't think it'll be a problem for him. Benny needs some game time. Keep him nice and sharp in case we do need him on Thursday as an impact sub. And then on the right-hand side, I've got Vlasic. Again, I think he's perfectly capable of playing tomorrow and Thursday. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. Again, I want to rest Lanzini. Again, we might need Lanzini for 120 minutes potentially on Thursday. He's not getting any younger. Keep him fresh.
And who goes up top for you?
Unfortunately, we have to play Antonio. We've got no other option at the moment. But I would only play him for an hour and no more. No matter what the scoreline is, I would be getting him off after an hour.
So your mindset, Tommy, is clearly Europa League, second leg, Sevilla. Still a strong team. Like, there's no ifs and buts about it. Like, looking at that team, that is a team. If he puts that team out tomorrow, he's clearly going and putting everyone out and going hell for leather for the Europa League.
Resting keeper. I still like Rice. I felt in that Sevilla game as well in the first leg. Rice clearly to me wasn't 100%, even though he played quite well. I had a decent game. He didn't seem to me like he was 100%. So I definitely want to give him these few days, give him that full week to really get over this virus. Because if we get an absolute blinder from Rice on Thursday, I mean, that would really go a long way towards helping us through. So
Yeah,
I'd be willing
absolutely.
to take a certain amount of risk against Villa tomorrow. But I still think with that team, we can get something against Villa tomorrow and potentially even win the game. Because I know they've got a lot of good players. I know they score a few goals. But our back four there is fine. And Krell and Noble, obviously, defensive midfielders, who I think will do a good job. But Villa also ship a lot of goals. You know, they are leaky at the back. And I think that front four for us can get at them.
Yeah. Looking at the starting 11 that Tommy's put out, what changes would you make to that?
I understand what he's gone for. I'm kind of basing it on what I would do plus what I think Moyes would do. So for me, it would be Johnson right back, Dawson and Zuma at centre back, and Creswell there. So
Hold on. So let me do this here. So Johnson right back.
Yeah.
Who left back?
Creswell would be the same.
Okay.
Same defensive play against Seville. Then Rice in the midfield with Lanzini. Holding with him or in the midfield. Then you'd have Vlasic on the. I wish he'd play Vlasic as an attacking midfielder personally, but I don't think he will. So I think he'll play for Vlasic right wing with Fornals on the left, and then attacking midfield. Oh, I picked there. Benrahma might have to come in, so maybe Benrahma attacking midfield, and I would have liked Antonio to be dropped for Okaflex. I don't know if anyone's seen the video that's on WESTHAM's Twitter, the link-up play between Okaflex and Perkins. I know it's under 23s, I know it's a different kettle of fish, but I like the look of Okaflex. He's a very much Antonio standard player. Clearly, Anton's just pressed the wrong button on this.
No, I've not. I'm just bringing up Flex into the equation.
Yeah. And I'd like to see him play instead of Antonio, giving Antonio a rest and giving something to mix it up, something that Aston Villa wouldn't think would happen. And, you know, they're basing off someone that you know they know nothing about, just to try and make it fresh. But you know, Antonio's going to start up top. So if you like that, the three between Fornals, Vlasic and Benrahma could interchange if you like. It doesn't have to be so static. But the only other change I think will happen is that Lanzini will be swapped with Benrahma and Suchek will come in for Lanzini.
That's the only other one you can see.
Yeah, that's the. I'm just this team you've got right now is the mixture of what I would do and what Moyes would do. So I'm trying to mix up the both together. I don't think it's one of them games that we can just go Europa League's more important. I think the whole ethos of the club, if we want to be a consistently better club, we have to look at games. Every game is a cup final. I don't think many of these top teams would go to would have a home game and go, well, rest in, play in. So we've got to look at this as it's not a cup game against a championship club. It's a team in good form who score loads of goals. So I agree with what I actually like the team that Tommy put out, and I think Noble's playing better than I thought he would be at this stage of his career. Coming as a sub, but I just think being in the Premier League and the form that Villa are in, especially with a player like Coutinho in the team, we can't really rest on our laurels. You know, Thursday's huge. Thursday's absolutely massive, especially for the future of the club and where it's going. But we can't, in my opinion, we can't just go, you know, rest a few for Thursday, because Villa's just as important to me, or for me personally, the way the season's going.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm actually building the team that I think you'll put out, and what you'll see is three completely different teams.
I agree. For what it's worth, I agree with Luke. I think Moyes will go very strong tomorrow. I think very few players will be rested. He might not rest any for all we know. He might just flog them till the end of the season and say, look, you're playing every game, whether you're tired or not, or whether, you know, no matter what the schedule is. And Moyes hasn't been big on resting players. So, I think Moyes will go strong. Not what I would do. I would be willing to potentially risk the game tomorrow for what I think is our biggest game in years on Thursday night. I just want us to be as fresh as possible and get the best performance possible out of the team on Thursday night. I think we can, even if we were to lose tomorrow, I still think it would be recoverable, in the league. But I'll be absolutely gutted if we go out to Sevilla on Thursday night. Gutted.
Yeah,
I'd love to
I
go
don't
through.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've built our 3 teams. I'm going to add them in as images and bring them up so everyone can see. But I'll go through the potential team that I think he may or not do, and you'll see just such a huge contrast of personal and different opinions here. So I think he will go with, forget the bottom players. There's so many players along the bottom, but just look from Fabianski upwards. I've gone with the 3 at the back, and I think I kind of agree with what Tommy's saying. I think Creswell may get a rest in this game, but I would like to see Diop step in that position. I think he's more than capable of doing it as long as he's got the comfort of Zuma and potentially Fornals. I do agree to a certain extent about what you're saying, Tommy, about Fornals, but I quite liked him in that left wing back position, and I would be intrigued to see whatever formation we put out for this game, particularly tomorrow. I wonder if that's going to have a knock-on effect to the game against Sevilla. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is we all know Moyes is all about consistency. He consistently talks about consistency. That's all he wants. He wants momentum. He wants momentum going into games. So that's why I think he's going to treat this game with the strongest 11, to be honest. But then, when you look at all the 11s we're putting out here, they're all pretty strong. And then on top of that, I can see the mindset of, sorry, that's the one with Souček, but I can see the mindset of maybe not playing Souček and playing Lanzini, or vice versa, not playing Lanzini and playing Souček. I think we'll see Benrahma, I think we'll see Vlasic, and like you have both said, I think we'll always see Antonio. But let me go through the 2 11s that you have both put up there. Tommy, this is yours. You've put Fredericks at right back, Dawson and Diop resting Zuma in the middle of the park, Ben Johnson out at left back, Noble and Krul coming in the midfield, Fornals through the middle, Benrahma out in the left, Vlasic out in the right, and Antonio up top. And then Luke, you've gone with the 4 along the back. Creswell stays in the team, Zuma and Dawson in the back there. Lanzini comes in, Souček drops out, Benrahma in the middle, Fornals out in the left, and Vlasic out on the right. So many differences of opinion. I'm going to jump into the chat and see what everyone is saying. I'm going to try and come down close to the bottom because there's so many comments. I'm going to try my best. Mandy G is saying she would love to see Oko also. I just wonder if it's going to be a matter of time and when we will see someone like him. I have seen the assist you're talking about, but he's been doing that all season. And again, you always think, we've had this debate. How many times have we had this debate, guys, about a young player? Can they make the step up? But if we're in the situation we're in, where we're relying heavily on Antonio, what harm would it be to throw someone in? Because plenty of teams around the world do it and are successful with it, but also plenty of teams do it and aren't successful with it. Tommy?
Yeah, well, like I said, when I was putting out my team and I had Antonio up top, I said it would be for an hour and that's it, no matter what's happening in the game. So if it was me, we'd be seeing Oko flex on the hour tomorrow for Antonio. Antonio will potentially be vital for us as well on Thursday night, and again, may have to play 120 minutes and potentially take a penalty. So I don't want to flog Antonio for another 90 minutes, 94 minutes tomorrow, whatever it will be. So, yeah, if it was me, we'd be seeing Okaflex on the hour tomorrow, but we all know that's not likely to happen. For some reason, Moyes is very, very shy in getting any of the youngsters on. He gets them on the bench, to pad the bench, but we never see them. I think if Antonio does come off tomorrow, it would more likely be Yarmolenko coming on. I think Yarmolenko will be on the bench tomorrow, and I think he'll come on to replace Antonio up top.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Loads of comments there. Andrew, seen us make changes before, for so-called more important games for us to slip up and both build the momentum. Nice collective, Mike Theory. It's true. I can't treat Nice Collective serious, but I still love you for joining us, mate. Vinny saying need to beat Sevilla. I want that badly. I think you know what, you join that long line of queue. Absolutely. You make us look like we have a big squad, Antonio. Well, I've had to put the youngsters in there as well. Happy I've had to put them in there. Tommy, good question for you, mate. Do you dye your beard like that? You're on mute, mate. You're on mute.
No, this is a natural salt and pepper beard.
Love it. Jason O'Brien saying 2 strikers with Villa. Moyes is doing more harm playing the same players, risk of long-term injuries, more of a risk line down the table. Trev Tube
Yeah,
saying,
like I said,
Okaflex
Rice and Zuma, the likes of Rice and Zuma didn't look right to me the other day. I'd rest them tomorrow. Really would.
Trev Tube, Okaflex's assist against Chelsea was magic. I'd love to see him given his chance. Real talent. Andrew says needs to give Okaflex 15 minutes. Let's see what he can do. Rob's projector will play the first 11, then rest them all 3 days, then give them light training on Thursday morning. Job done. 2 wins. Happy Amaret. We won't see youngsters at Sevilla or Spuds. James Bong says, have faith. People will smash these. Salt and pepper beard. Happy loved that. Anton, we like you too, and we love your kitchen. Love that shit. Love that shit. Right, if you are watching, I want you to all get your predictions in for the game tomorrow, and we'll go through your predictions. Right, comments, a few more to read before we get the... If you are watching, put the comments in, let us know your predictions for the game tomorrow. Mandy G says, Moyes won't start Okaflex. He'll rather put Vlasic up top. Trev Tube says, I'm with Tommy in this, can't afford to lose Creswell, Zuma, Rice, Antonio. So I would understand if he didn't play or had minimal time, but Moyes won't like that, in my honest opinion. Happy Amaret says, bench Antonio and start Okaflex. Antonio can come on if needed. Freno saying, Rice and Noble for me in the middle, Crawl as a sub to come in. Happy Amaret, Lanzini isn't getting any younger. Crikey Tommy was only 29 3 weeks ago. Drain hole hammers. Zuma got a knock when he picked up the yellow card with the hospital ball from Fornals. Trev Tubes in the house. Hope you're well. Don't forget to like the channel, people. Thank you very much. Big Engine, Noble and Rice from Freno. Happy Amaret says we get knocked out on Thursday. These potential 3 points would have been crucial. If any changes, it would be minimal, I believe. We're saying Benny McCarthy in middle for tomorrow. Love that. Fab Johnson, Diop, Zuma, Creswell, Rice, Suchek, Ben Rama, Lanzini, Vlasic, Antonio, Reston, Dawson, and Fornals. Luthers the same. We'll have to give Zuma injections just like Dawson. Noble and Crawl, a very good idea. He likes that, Tommy. Ole, ole, Tommy. Happy Amaret. Are we saying he has one of those funny walks and runs? That's in relation to Zuma. Jay is saying Diop and Dawson, a good shout. Right, let's jump into the predictions. I'll put this one over to you, Luke, first, mate. 2 o'clock kickoff at the London Stadium. Join us for the Matchday live tomorrow. We'll be going live where we'll be giving you commentary. Luke, mate, go for it.
Hardest prediction I think I've ever made on this channel so far. I'm going to go for 3-2 to us. I have to predict the win. It's in the blood. Can't. It's like, blood prediction to go against us. I'm going to go 3-2 because at some point, like you said, Antonio, in the video, our duck has to break and we have to start scoring goals. We will create chances, no doubt about that. But they'll score goals as well, which is why they'll still get the 2. But I also kind of think that Martinez in goal for him is a little bit overrated. I think we played him last season. There's about 2 shots he could have saved and he just palmed them in his own net. And we scored 4 against him earlier on in the season. And I don't really think he's a good goalkeeper. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. And I think we can, if we start finally just hitting the target with our shots, that's something, rather than just blasting the rose head all the time. We could have a few goals. So I'm going to go for 3-2 West Ham tomorrow. Do you want the scores as well or not? Or
go on then, mate, if you want. Go on.
Well, seeing as our Bowen's it's got to be someone else in it. So I think Lanzini will get a goal because he's had a few opportunities in the last 2 games. Antonio to get 1, and then Dawson from a set piece. Coutinho to get 1. And then, as you brought him up earlier on, Danny Ings to get 1 because he hasn't scored against us yet. So why not?
Right, Tommy, mate, over to you, mate.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 West Ham. I think Moyes will go very strong tomorrow. I think he'll maybe make a couple of changes, no more than that. So we'll have a very strong side out. We're at home. Villa are a good team with good players, a couple of danger men, obviously, the likes of Coutinho particularly, and Ings and Watkins. I don't know if they'll both play, but whichever one or both plays, they're in danger. But to me, we're still a better team than Villa. It shows in the league table, and they're playing well. And yes, they've got 3 wins and a bounce, but they're very open at the back. And I think we'll do quite well defensively against them. We'll have our scares, but they're not. Me, let's not overplay it. They're not a great team, Villa, and they do concede goals, and we're a much better team than Leeds, for example. We're at home, so I think we're going to have enough for Villa tomorrow. I think we'll get the 3 points that we need, albeit we don't score freely, as Luke alluded to. But I think we'll bag a couple against a leaky Villa defence tomorrow.
And I think you kind of put the nail on the head there, Tommy, when you said there about, they can concede goals and they are pretty open at the back, because there is that kind of consideration that they throw everything at a game, which is not a bad position for a team like West Ham to be in. That's how we can get in behind, because we've got so much strength going forward. We create chances. It's about what West Ham turn up tomorrow. It's about, is it West Ham that's going to convert those chances? And I honestly believe it. And if 10 games from now, this has still not happened, I'll be absolutely flabbergasted. But we can't keep going and not converting these chances. At some point, these chances are going to have to go into the back of the net. And we find ourselves, and it's only going to be but growing confidence. And that's why I can see players like Vlasic stepping up tomorrow, because he's getting a run of games. He knows that the massive game, the importance of the game on Thursday is huge. And he's got that in his engine. He's got that in his tank. Players like Ben Rama, we know what they're capable of doing. And it's about time he hits a run of form. So equally, as much as they like to get forward, we're more than capable of getting forward. And I've got a lot more confidence in our back line about what we're capable of doing. I am fearful of them scoring goals. I think they will score goals, because we do like goals as well. So I kind of like the prediction 3-2. I think that's a kind of, I'm going to join you, Luke, on that one as well. I'll go 3-2 West Ham. And just, it'd be good to just see Antonio nip a goal, someone like Vlasic nip a goal as well. That would be really good to give him a bit of confidence. And even Ben Rama, how good would that be to get him off on the score sheet and lead into the massive game? Questionably, probably one of our biggest games in our definitely our biggest game since 2006, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll jump through the comments.
Depends if you want to include playoff finals or stuff.
Yeah, true. Vinny is saying 2-0 to West Ham. Mike Theory is saying, I think we'll win 2-1, but it'll be a very close game, not easy. Freno is saying we kind of deserve a win tomorrow, so I'll go 2-1. Happy Amaret, 1-0, Coutinho first goal, and my God second goal. That is Lanzini, if you didn't know, not Luke. Mandy G head says 2-1. My West Ham heart says a hard 41.
Calls me De Gea all the time. He ain't doing me.
I know. Mice Collective 3-1 West Ham. Vlasic 2 goals and Declan Mice 1 goal. WHU 58 1-0 to West Ham. Mark R West Ham 2-1. So James Bong, does it Tipperary fucking easy to have chat them tips?
Essentially, no. I know nothing about horse racing, and I have no luck with it anyway whenever I have taken a punt. So if I put money on a horse, it'd probably fall in the fucking paddock.
Joan 2-0 West Ham. Ben Rama to score earlier on. Adam Cook 2-1 West Ham win, late winner. An 80s Noble to score after coming on in the second half. Andrew 2-1 West Ham. Antonio Brace. Anil saying 2-1 somehow. Tipperary.
Tipperary.
Okay. Robert Singleton, can't understand you saying you'd rest players yet saying play youngsters, even those you mentioned played on Friday. They don't have the same stamina at their age. Richo is saying, come on, you hammers. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Rob's projectable. West Ham win all day. 3-1 West Ham. Where are we? Fabianski would have conceded 3. I don't know what game that was. Ludders is saying, wish we could get our scoring mojo back. Richo's saying a Desmond 2 each. Freno's saying Vlasic to score along Mickey, as they both are due. James Bong saying 3-0 West Ham. Trev Tube says if we can finish our chances, I'll go for a very positive 3-1. Jason is saying Villa are early on their journey. They are. Rob's is saying Villa are going to get knackered. Well, it's true, and it's a valid point, because West Ham like to make teams work, and we've obviously got our team a lot fitter as well. Happy he is back in training. Absolutely, he is there training with the full squad as well. So he could be an option. Villa weakness is no defensive midfield. Mandy G, so too Masuaku, maybe
did.
Masuaku. What?
I did on this. I read this comment and I mentioned it earlier actually, just to say, Mandy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You think that?
I didn't think it. I did mention it. It's a possibility, and I wouldn't mind it happening. To be fair.
Yep. Happy I'm right. 3-2. 3-2
There
would
does
be an
tend
exciting
to be goals, between ourselves and Villa. There does tend to be goals. 3-2 would not surprise me either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, lads, that brings an end to our Matchday build-up preview show. If you are new around here, please go and hit that subscribe button. On top of that, there is a little bell notification over there. If you hit that bell notification, that'll notify you when our shows do go live. Luke and Tommy, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Cheers.
Tommy, last question to both of you, but I'll start with you, Tommy, first. Who's the one Aston Villa player you fear the most?
That's Coutinho all day long. I mean, it's the obvious answer for a reason. He's just, absolutely top class. So we can't let him have his way with us tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to be banging trouble. So we've got to get a hold of Coutinho and lessen his influence as much as possible. Have someone on his toes all the time. Try and prevent passes even to him as often as we can. But he is the danger man. He's head and shoulders above any other player that Villa have. And if they're going to beat us, him having a blinder would be enough to do it, I think.
And I think the thing we need to watch with potentially, like you said, Tommy, is something that West Ham have done before, which is try to man mark a particular player, or teams have tried to do against us. If you remember the game against Liverpool before lockdown, where we actually nearly won the game, and a lot of people actually said that Philippe Anderson had one of his worst games in a West Ham shirt, where I actually saw the opposite, which was they were man marking him and he was pulling players away from other players, and then the other players were able to get further forwards. So we have to be mindful of that as well. But I do agree with you; he's definitely a threat. Luke, player we need to watch the most from. Do you agree with Tommy?
I do, and also I actually happen to forget Jacob Ramsey, who we mentioned as well, Tommy earlier, and I think he's an underrated player who's going to be really good in the future. So maybe not definitely fear him as much as Coutinho, but Coutinho's the one to watch. But this kid has got it in him as well. So both of them really, but Coutinho the main one definitely. Yeah,
absolutely. And the West Ham player they should fear the most, Tommy?
We'll have to wait and see who starts, but I think probably Lanzini if he plays. He's such a clever player, just brilliant, and his form is sensational at the moment. I think if Lanzini starts and plays, which I think he will, and he continues his form and is in top form again tomorrow, he's going to hurt them. So I think Steven Gerrard would probably be saying that to his team that we've got to try and get hold of Lanzini and try to limit his influence on the game, because if he's humming and he's buzzing about and getting on the ball a lot of the good things that we do go through his feet. So I think Lanzini is the key for us tomorrow if he plays.
Look, player they should fear the most.
I'm actually going a bit left field here, and I'm going to say Declan Rice, because correct me if I'm wrong, they're the only team that he scored against in the Premier League this season, and it was one of the. Normally, I think he's quite poor at shooting, and he put a really nice goal away against them in the reverse fixture. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go and say Declan Rice for this one.
And on that low, look, I've started to notice that's developing and even better in his game. I think there was a game recently that Souček was getting further forward. Declan Rice was sitting there, and I can't remember. He hit the post. Was it against Newcastle from outside the box? And he was kind of curling the shot round from outside the box. He had a couple of attempts like that, and I think his all-round game is getting so much better. Yep, absolutely.
What do you think, then, Tom? So, just out of interest, both men, both teams.
I think I agree with you, though. Coutinho, I think we need to watch other players, though, that we don't, because of Coutinho, like what I said. So maybe Watkins, I think, with West Ham's history of being after him and things like that, definitely need to keep an eye on him with 7 goals this season. And for us, I agree with everything you guys have said, but I think I'm starting to see a bit more better work rate and working for the team again and from Antonio. And I think if, Antonio was like a brace away, not just a goal away, and not just a tap in, but a proper good old brace away from kickstarting again. And I think that's what he needs, is something like that. Feed him and let's get him back on the wagon for scoring goals again. And he could really cause, we all know he can cause defenses a lot of problems. We saw a couple of occasions against Sevilla where the ball came through to him and he took the ball around the player, and the Sevilla defender literally tried to power slam him to the floor, and he just shrugged him off like he was absolutely nothing. So as long as we can get Antonio playing like what we can do earlier in the season, then I think he could be a danger man, 100%. That brings us to an end. So like I said, if you are new around here, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, hit the thumbs up if you have enjoyed the show. If you're keen on becoming a channel member, please click the channel member. Tomorrow morning, there will be a live show live from the stadium. So make sure you check into the channel in the morning. I don't know the exact time.
Just while you're talking about time, I just want to remind anyone, just in case they have a nightmare tomorrow, the clocks go forward.
Is that tonight, Tommy?
Yeah, so be careful that you don't miss an hour of the game or you get your times mixed up for what's happening.
Tommy, is it definitely tonight?
Is it tonight?
Oh, I don't know.
Someone tweeted that earlier. That's why I'm saying it. Someone tweeted earlier that the clocks are going forward. So I know
the only reason I didn't know about that is because my mum's not said anything to me. She'd usually send out a message to the whole family saying,
let me double check, because someone put it up on Twitter. Someone put it up on Twitter earlier, unless they were just mistaken.
Yeah. 8:30 a.m. tomorrow is going to be a live show, so make sure you check on that. Scott Venn is saying that's next week, Thomas.
Sorry.
He said VAR on that, Tommy. VAR on that, Tommy.
Fair.
Jones in the house. Cheers, guys. Let's get a win tomorrow. Souness is a grumpy get. Mummy's boy, much Anton. Yeah, you can say that again. Next week, Tommy. There you go.
Thanks for clarifying.
Fredo saying it's tonight. You said it's tonight, but it's not. It's the 27th of March. There you go. Tommy, you're gonna have people turning up to the game late tomorrow or early or whatever.
I know. I'm gonna get slaughtered on Twitter tomorrow.
You are, mate. You are. Like I said, thanks for joining us. Get behind the lads. Join us tomorrow. We're doing 2 shows. We're gonna or 3 shows, I should say. Morning show, Matchday live, and then we'll have the review show after. Take it easy, stay safe, and come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of